All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Monday to you. It is Monday, July 18th, 2022. It's a very special day in the Hess household. Our little man Quincy turns 5 years old today. And so I thought an appropriate topic to talk about this morning would be time. Time flies, man. You know, this little guy, it's like he just entered the world yesterday. You know, I was watching the videos of, right around the time when he was born and all the way through his 5 years on this planet. And all I could think about was, man, we need to do a better job. Everybody, all of us need to do a better job of paying attention to time, really appreciating time. And so that's what we're going to unpack this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that line up.
All right, guys, what's happening? And happy Monday to you. I hope you guys are off to an awesome start to your week. I definitely am. Forgive me for those of you who are watching this on video and not listening on podcasts. If I keep sweating, man, I just left the gym and I can't stop sweating. So that's one negative about the gym, but plenty of positives. So, but happy Monday to you guys. And this morning I was, kind of overwhelmed by this topic of just how fast time flies. Today is Quincy's 5th birthday. And I was thinking about, man, it was like yesterday that he was born, and, you think about just how precious time is, right? And you start to break time down and think about it in different ways, So how can we analyze and use time better? How can we slow it down? Like, how can we take advantage of it the best way that we know how? And as I started thinking about that this morning, there's a way that, I kind of look at time. It's really, I learned this method from Jesse Itzler, who talks about, it's not about years. It's not about months. It's about the number of times that you actually get to do something. And so I want to share with you guys some of, how I have evolved the way that I look at time, and the way that I use it and the way that I intentionally try to do things in my life that I believe are great uses of time. And so, this upcoming weekend, we're leaving to go on a trip. We're headed to Connecticut and then on to Boston and on to Cape Cod as a family. We're taking a vacation next week. And so, that was one of the things that was on my list, was to increase the number of times, the number of memories that we could actually make as a family, and to, try to take one of these trips somewhere. It could be somewhere local. It could be somewhere, not too far away. We could drive, we could fly, whatever it is. But I wanted to, take one of these trips just to, this is a vacation, but a long weekend type of trip, at least once a month. And when I started thinking about that, realistically, there's probably a couple of times a year that won't happen. So let's just say that we could get 10 trips in a year, right? Let's just say that we can go somewhere 10 times. And I started thinking, this was back when, Paisley was 9 years old. And so, she's going to be the first one that, kind of moves out of the house or goes to college or whatever it may be. And so I started thinking, like, if she's, 18 years old, if she goes off to college, and that's really, kind of the breaking point of when it becomes unpredictable, how much time we'll be able to spend, how much time do I have? And so I started thinking, like, man, if we could get, 10 trips a year in, that would be, between now, she turns 10 here in a few weeks, but that would be 80 trips in 8 years, right? 80 different destinations that we could go to and make memories as a family, and really, really use time the way that it's supposed to be used, which is, to create those imprints, those emotional imprints that we all want, but we're not always sure exactly how to do it. And one of the things that really stood out to me when I was learning this concept, this method, was, it's not about how much money you spend on whatever it is that you do. You know, you could go to a state park or a national park, which are free for anybody to go to, right? Obviously, if you got to travel somewhere, you got to stay somewhere, but you can do a lot of things, man. Like just in this Pittsburgh area, there's so many state parks and so many places that we've never been as a family, right? And so utilizing those things around you, really exploring, really showing your kids and showing your family and showing your friends, if that's the case, different experiences and creating different memories with people. That's what it's about. And that's how we take time and really slow it down, like really fractionalize it down to, you know, how we go about creating memories, right? And when you think about time, you know, one of the things that Jesse said is like, you know, when he looks at his parents and he looks at, you know, his parents are aging, right? And how many, it's not that you have 20 years left with your parents. It's how many times do you see them in a year, right? And then you multiply that by the number of years. That's actually how many visits that you have left. So when you start thinking about time in that aspect, you know, when people ask me why I'm in a hurry so much, you know, why it is that I'm always trying to move so fast doing things, like, we don't have a lot of time, guys. You know, this life we get one shot at, right? And if we don't use it properly, we don't get a mulligan. We don't get to try again. And so this Monday, on my little man's 5th birthday, I ask you guys to consider that. How are you utilizing time? And how can you use it better? You know, how can you intentionally spend more time with those people that you care about? How can you create memories that really last a lifetime, that really make a huge impact, that really leave an imprint on somebody's heart, on their soul, by creating those types of memories? It's one of the reasons why it was so important to me to have my whole family and my parents at the top contractor school retreats that we do. Those are memories, right? They get to meet all the people that are important to me in business and in life, you know? And so think about that. How can you use time? How can you create these memories? How can you fractionalize time down to, you know, for me, I've shared this with you guys before, but having date night every single week with my wife, well, that's 52 dates a year. It's 52 times however many hours we get to spend together, driving to the restaurant, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours at dinner, whatever it may be, driving back to the restaurant. It's a lot of hours that we get to spend, just the two of us. And so when you start to look at time like that, time will always fly by, but you have the ability to slow it down by being intentional about how you use it. And let me tell you something, man. I look around the world and I look at people. We were just talking about this morning. I look at people that just have no concept or respect for time. And before you know it, half their life has passed them by. What have they really done? You know, what kind of impact have they really made? What kind of memories have they actually created? And so you need to be very serious about this, guys. Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, whatever it is that you've wanted to do, you need to get off your rear end and go do it, man. And you need to look at time and respect it. Find ways to stretch it. Find ways to multiply it. Because if you just wake up every day and you don't have any respect or awareness of just how important time is, you're going to live your future with a lot of regrets. And nobody wants that. And so the opposite of that is that when you take control of time and you start to multiply it and you start to implement these things and you actually start to count the experiences and events in your life that matter, time will always fly, but man, is it fun. Man, is it awesome to be able to look back and say, 2022 was an amazing year. Look at everything that we did. You know, I started tracking so much stuff, like, you know, how many dates with my wife, how many days with my kids, how many, everything, like everything you can think of. How many books did I read? How many one-on-ones with people? How many, everything, how many? And when you start to measure it, and you start to realize how much you're doing, there's always the ability to ratchet up and do more. But it starts with your own awareness of time and how much of it we don't have. Now, I don't suggest that you should go out and go crazy and, put the throttle down and just go nuts in your life and try to do everything at once, because you'll create a mess. But I do suggest that you should take inventory of what it is that you're doing, where it is that you're spending your time that isn't serving you or isn't serving your family or isn't serving your business. And you should change that, because it's important, guys. There's nothing more important. And so today, as I celebrate my little man's 5th birthday, the best gift that I could give him is to be aware of how important the time with him is. And the same is true for you guys, whoever that is in your life. And it's not just about birthdays. It's about every single day. And so just because today is Quincy's birthday doesn't mean time is more important today, but it definitely raises your awareness and reminds you that 5 years have clipped by pretty fast. So how many more memories do I get to make? How many more imprints can I leave? How many more lessons can I teach before they go off on their own? We all need to think about those areas in our life that mean the most to us, and we need to do the very best that we can to stretch and multiply the time that's attached to them. That's it, guys. That's it for today. That's all I got to share with you. I hope it was helpful. I hope it provided you with some perspective, and I hope you guys have an awesome week. And if you guys want to leave some comments down there, little happy birthday messages to Quincy, feel free, and I'll read them off to him. He can't read just quite yet, getting there, but I'll read them off to him and tell him who all of you guys are. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.